What it do, baby?
You are now listening to the Jca Sports Podcast.
DeMar DeRozan delivers! Trying to cut it back. Justin Fields making magic happen. There goes Fields. Touchdown! Turnover here. James and Cade. 2-on-1. Hustling back his point up a shot. Good! Patrick Cade in overtime. Pitch is hit in the air. Deep to right. That ball is gone. White Sox win. The Field of Dreams! This is going to be a tough play. Bryant, the Cubs, win the World Series! Bryant makes the play! It's over! And the Cubs have finally won it all!
This is the Jca Sports Podcast.
That's right, Jca Sports Podcast, brought to you by Anchor, and we're here live on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter, alongside Eric Avila. My name is Jose Contreras, and welcome, guys, to the Jca Sports Podcast. What's up, Eric?
It'd be easier if I unmute my mic, right? What's up, Jose?
Oh, you sound sexy over there. That's my nigga school. I'm jealous.
Hey, I do what I can here, okay?
What's up, man? Great show today. We've seen the EFP podcast for everyone who missed it. You can definitely rewatch it on YouTube, and it's going to be on Anchor and tomorrow as early as tomorrow. But great job, man. Great job.
You. Appreciate it.
But we're here at the Jca Sports Podcast. Eric and I. John will be joining us a little bit later. But we have a lot to talk about today, guys. Although not much going on in the sports world, especially here in Chicago, there is a lot of sports news. Yes. And especially with baseball, man, and unfortunately, it's not good news, Eric. The lockout's here, and it's because of the owners. It was the owners who locked out the players this time, guys. All 12,000 of them. When the last collective bargaining agreement expired on December 1st, it was the owners who then stayed away from the negotiating table for over a month. It was the owners who canceled spring training games and threatened to also axe regular season games, in which they end up doing. All if the MLB Players Association didn't agree to a new deal ahead of arbitrary deadlines. And I mean, here we are. It was owners who chose to stand by those threats when Commissioner Rob Manfred announced yesterday the cancellation of the first two series of the 2022 season. And guys, plain and simple, the owners don't want to spend significantly more money on these players. And the players believe that given the additional cash that will be provided by an extended post season, not to mention the upcoming influx of gambling, they should be given more money. Eric, what was your initial thoughts when you heard Rob Manfred say that at least the first two series of the MLB 2022 season would be axed?
Expected.
Yeah.
Non-surprising, anticlimactic. What other word I'm trying to look for here? It was bound to happen. I guess you can say that, you know.
Yeah.
We did say baseball wasn't going to start. We did say by May. I'm surprised he just said the first 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure he's pretty optimistic that it may start a lot more earlier. He's just very optimistic that it's just going to be to 2 series. I know that it's going to be one more. I think they're going to meet up tomorrow. I think it was, or Friday or something, Sunday. It was sometime this weekend for sure. They're going to meet up and try to do this again so they won't miss more significant time. But it doesn't look that way, man. Like you're right. It's the owners. Obviously it's funny how the players went straight to Rob Manfred, when technically it's not really Manfred's fault at this point. You know, he works for the
Yeah.
owners,
He's the
right?
puppet on the string.
Exactly. That he's the scapegoat out of all of this, man. And you just got to feel for him to a certain point, right? I feel like he should have just. I mean, I know. Look, he's a commissioner of MLB. Like he works for the owners, or however that works. However commissioner works for whatever these leagues, right? But even on top of that, like I know he doesn't want to step on toes and be like, look, guys, we got to do this like this. I think he'll probably been more respected or given more credit from the players, at least at this point, from the players if he said, look, guys, like me halfway, give these to the players, but players, you got to give this much, and let's get the season started. I don't want to miss out more baseball. We already missed out on spring training. We, pitchers and catchers reporting. We missed out on all of that, guys. Like we just need to get this ball rolling because overall we look bad, but
Yeah.
he didn't do that. The owners still did what they needed to do. The players are they stuck to their guns. They don't want to, they want a little bit more out of this, as rightfully so. And here we are, the first two series, which is dumb. I think you could say that's kind of dumb, right? Like you said, the first two series of the season is canceled. And I guess in a way it sounds dumb, but I know what Manfred is doing, talking about like, I don't really want to say the first month, still want to be optimistic that we could still get this going in the middle or sometime around April. So, let's give it some time.
Yeah, I mean, let's give it some time, but I mean, let's be honest, Eric. Do we even care? Do we even care that the first two series are canceled? I mean, baseball is one of those. It's one of those leagues where it's too. To me, at least, I'm not a diehard fan like John. I know you're way into more. You're more into baseball than I am.
Mm-hmm.
And 162 games is a lot to really commit to for a season. I mean, we're only missing what? We're only missing essentially 6 games, maybe 4 to 6 games,
5 or 6, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, does that really make a huge difference
to the players? Yeah, because that's paycheck money, homie.
Right, to them, but like, yeah. we can't control what's going on with the players and owners. Only they can. Like for us as fans, does it make a huge difference that we lose out on 5 or 6 games?
I mean, depending who you're asking for, because I know there's a lot of people who look forward to opening day, right? Yeah. And I know there's a lot of people that like opening day, but could care less about that whole month of March, right? Or the whole month of April. Everybody wants to like the baseball season to start around May.
Yeah.
But still, man, it's still a big thing. It's just to me, it's just. I do care a little bit because you just miss out on baseball in general, right? And it's not a way to fixing this by canceling the first 2 games. Like you're hurting the sport a lot more by doing this. And again, like I said, Manfred just canceled the first 2 series simply because he's optimistic that they could start by that following week. That
April 7th is what they're trying.
April 7th, but man, at this point, it's just it just sucks, man. Like it's a black eye for baseball. It literally is, dude. It's a black eye for baseball right now. The negotiations, you talk about the owners went a whole month without saying anything, like on and on and on. You could say it's all the owner's fault. It's the owner's fault. It is the owner's fault. But a lot of people and plenty of MLB players, they went for Manfred and they went for the wrong guy.
It's tough. Like, for me, I really, it doesn't make a difference for me if they cancel the first 2 series of the season. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I feel like there's a lot of people who agree with that. You know what I mean? Like baseball, sure. you said it more than anybody on this show, and I believe you 100% that baseball is a dying sport. And it sucks because baseball is a game I want my kids to play. I have 3 boys. I would love for one of them, if not all of them, to play baseball. But I guess only recreationally, or maybe even just to, stay in shape. But like nothing to get really serious about, because it's like, for what? I mean, you see what these guys are doing. They barely market their players. I've read so many articles and heard so many stories on radio shows or podcasts where this younger generation doesn't care about baseball. They don't know who the players are unless they're playing video games. They don't really watch or care. I mean, did you not say like last time where a lot of them don't know who Mike Trout is?
Yeah, I just seen something on Facebook talk about that. Mike Trout has like 1.3 million followers on social media. Tyler Hero from the Miami Heat has 2.7.
And Mike Trout's supposed to be your best player. He's supposed to be the best
Exactly.
player in baseball.
Like,
That's
and
wow.
here, as we go to the comments, Jose, if you see right
Yeah.
here, it says, Real Perez, what's up, Real? Saying, I haven't followed why arguing or whatever, or why they are arguing. But the players just need to shut up and play. They're already making more than doing any other job that they might have. And that's true.
That's true, but that's not the point. That's not the thing is, I agree with that, right?
Mhm.
But the owners are also getting way more money. And if you're a player, yes, you're making relatively more than just the average Joe who's working construction or flipping burgers or selling cars. You name the job, right? They're making significantly more than what we do on a day-to-day basis. But look at the sport in general. The sport is making billions of dollars, and they realistically, let's say they can get 500 million, but they're only getting 100 million, and the owners are keeping that extra 400 million for what? If the baseball players are doing all the work. As owners, what are you doing for this sport? You're not marketing us. You're not doing. You're bad businessmen. You're not doing your job to help grow this sport. If anything, it's on the decline. As players, you're the ones about this risking your bodies. You're the ones out there putting on a show. Without them, there is no baseball, and that's what the players are trying to argue. Is like, look, guys, we're just as important. And if we can't get that extra money that you're getting off us from expanding the playoffs, from I guess there's so much back and forth, and there's so many little things and nuances that they're trying to argue. Owners are not trying to give up so much. Players are trying to get more, and vice versa. If you're a player and you're not getting that, it's like a union. Like, you got to strike. You know what I mean? You have to. That's basically what it is. So I get, yes, they're making more money, but so are the owners. If the owners are making billions of dollars, why can't they give the players that extra million, 2-3 million? That helps.
Even then, I mean, I don't even know. I think the league minimum is like what, 300,000 or something like that
Crazy.
for like the back end players, and I think that's what the MLB players want to fight for, giving them just a little bit more bump. Maybe not a million, but I mean, still something there. He also follows up by saying, if you work somewhere and the company starts making money, a lot more money, are you going to get a raise?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. And let me tell you what, I used to be general manager for many other places. If I start running the store, right? If they put me in charge of a store and that store starts significantly making more money ever since I started running it, you damn right I'm going to get a raise, and I should. You know what I mean? And why wouldn't I? Come on, think about it. I'm bringing in revenue, whatever in whatever I'm doing, whether it's how I'm managing labor, how I'm managing inventory, how I'm creating a better environment for the customer to walk into my whatever shop, restaurant, you name it. Damn right, I'm going to expect more money because I'm bringing you more money. That's how it works. It's a business.
No, exactly. It is a business at the end of the day, and I feel like sometimes we forget that it's a business too. Like, I forget sometimes, we just look at this game, this sport, and we just look at it as for fun, and these players are getting paid for it. We're just looking at it like, oh crap, it's fun. I love sports. I love this. I love that. I love this reason about it, but I mean, I get it. Hey, Jonathan Plyo is also on the comments, says it takes a lot of time to get a raise because they bought you in and make them more money, and that's facts too. The players are a product on the field,
Mhm.
and the owners should kind of see that and kind of respect, because if it wasn't for them, they wouldn't be in this position. The Ricketts wouldn't be in the position. Ray Khan. I mean, that's not the owner. Rick Khan's not the owner. Who's the owner? Reinsdorf. And all these other owners around baseball, like the product on their field is their moneymaker, right? Whether if they win and lose. Now, I know it's not like the NFL. The NFL is king, that it doesn't matter if you're 0-16, you're still going to get a $300 million check at the end of the year because of the TV money. So baseball has to operate a little bit different. But yeah, you're right. It just, you want to help create or help like those back end players, the ones that barely make the 25-man roster or that 40-man roster, because I think they expand a little bit more. That 40-man roster, like you kind of wanna help them too as well, because they're barely making league minimum. But at the same time, I look at it like this too. It's an argument between billionaires and millionaires, and that's what John says. To be honest, I think the players are being greedy. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. They're just trying to help themselves at the back end, which is what they want. Baseball, technically, baseball is not. They do kind of quote unquote have a salary cap. It's just not really mentioned. I think it's the luxury tax that they get paid, or they go based off of where they can't really get paid that much money. You're right. There is technically how there's in the NBA and the NFL that there is no how we hear a salary cap, but in baseball there is like a tax bracket in there that they can't really kind of go over, and that's what they try not to do, and they kind of want to get rid of that because he says baseball is the one sport with no salary cap. Be the one of the best, and you'll get paid stupid money, which is true. I mean, baseball is the only league that we see these $300-200 million that we start seeing a lot of these stupid money contracts. But at the same time, it's just like in a union, even though you're not the best player getting paid hundreds of millions of dollars, you still want that back end of your roster of still getting paid close to that schmil or two schmil that they want, that you want to get off of for everybody. Everybody needs to get paid.
Yeah, no, I mean everybody needs to get paid, and look, I get why you guys say that the players are the ones being greedy, but come on, guys, the owners are the ones being greedy. The owners are the ones who are making stupid money, and of course, if you're a player, you want some of that money. You deserve some of that money. Let's be honest. You're the product. You're what's out there. If it weren't for them, there is no product. There is no baseball. These owners can't go up, lace them up, and throw 90 or to 100-mile-per-hour fastball or hit one at that. It's like, as a player, you got to do it. And again, it'd be different if it was like NFL, NBA, where people know who the hell you are, where you're marketing like you're the baseball is marketing you, marketing your team, marketing every great player like if it's LeBron James, Steph Curry, but they're not doing that. And like that's, and you lose out on money like that. I always refer to wrestling. And wrestling, right? If there's there's two big companies in WWE and AEW. WWE has so much control in the wrestlers and how they would market them, that if they're not being marketed, they're not making money. But if you go to AEW, you have all that creative control. You're able to market yourself. You're able to create your own content, and you can make that money on your own. You know what I mean? It's like in baseball, if you're not being marketed the way you are, the way you want to be, it's not, you won't make that extra money that you should be making. It's like in the NBA, how many commercials do you see? LeBron, Steph Curry, Trae Young, Chris Paul, and all these State Farm commercials. Same with the NFL. You see Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean? It's like, wouldn't you ever see baseball players like that, unless they're like in a Subway commercial or something like that, or like along those lines. You know what I mean? Something small. You don't see much of it though, and that's a huge problem. It's like, who wants to grab a baseball player if your main objective is to sell a product? A lot of people don't even know who these baseball players are. You know what I mean? It's true. So it's kind of like,
no, you're right.
If you're a player, you get all the money you can get. Especially if the money is there to be made, right. And the owners are the ones that grabbing it all and taking it all for themselves. Who are the greedy ones?
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. And as I go back to the comments, I think Rio goes up. Yeah, if he's not mistaken, he'll look it up later. But aren't baseball players the highest paid athletes of all major sports?
I think soccer is, no.
If you're talking about here, yeah, in a way, it's here simply because like all their money is guaranteed. The contracts for MLB players are guaranteed. I think Russell Wilson is the only NFL player whose contract is fully guaranteed, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, soccer players too. Soccer players, their contracts are guaranteed too. But there's some players in the MLS that make $50,000, $60,000. Like it's a regular, just normal job, $70,000 after that. Unless if you're not a big name. John goes and says, if you're a professional athlete, you're living the dream and making millions. Not all players make millions. I think that's the aspect about baseball players that people think, or a professional player, they all make millions. No, I mean, some of their contracts may sound like they're making millions of dollars, but there's players that barely make, $200,000, $400,000, unless if you're a big name player like Bryce Harper, who am I missing? Bryce Harper, Chris Bryant, Aaron Judge, and all these other players. They're the ones that make you millions. You're talking about your backhand players like your Ryan Taperas, your Ortegas, players like that. Those are the ones that barely crack the $100,000, of amount of money in the league. As we still go here to the comments, Rio Go says, but the owners took a risk when they bought the team, but they can find players who can play for the cheap. I mean, yeah, obviously you could do that, but you're not gonna get the product that you want. If you're contending, if you want to contend, I mean, cool. If the owner wants to make money and knows they can make money by paying, I mean, owner.
Look at the Orioles. Look at the Baltimore Orioles. Look at their salary cap and how much they're playing their entire team. They're like collectively getting paid less than an NFL player.
Yeah.
Is that product good? No.
Trash.
Orioles are trash.
Yeah, it's trash.
They're trash.
John says you want more millions than you got to perform and produce. I mean,
that's every sport. Come on,
exactly. That's almost every sport. Do you see the bench players on the Lakers complain that they don't make LeBron money? That's
apples and oranges. That's a whole different kind of.
That's like comparing Mike Trout to Ortega. Making that money. And John goes and says, yeah, Mike Trout, Tatis, Giancarlo Stanton, Bauer, all have but those are big name players that we know and we understand and we see day in and day out, that we know that they're making this money. Plus, it's actually out there in the public eye to see. The minimum MLB salary is $570,500. Who can't live off of that salary? Understandably, yes. But also I was looking up a report. The lifespan of an MLB player is 1 year more than the lifespan of an NFL player, and the NFL player is more of a dangerous sport than in baseball. Am I correct?
No, absolutely.
Okay, so if the lifespan is 1 more year than an NFL player, some players do make that 570 million. Some really don't. Some barely make less than that. So I get it. You have to earn your way to pay that, but then at the same time, it's just like, okay, if you're making the minimum salary of that's almost like $2 million in 4 years. Is that really generational wealth? How we like to talk about the LeBrons, the Trouts, the Tatis.
Okay, but I think we're going on. Here's the thing, right? I get where John and Rio and I get where they're coming from. Where it's like, okay, who can't live off of like a 500,000 salary? I get that. Of course, anybody can do it, but this isn't a construction job. This isn't, your mom and pop store. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is baseball where these guys, when there's like billions of dollars being made, like you got to look at the product and the whole situation. So you got to look at the league itself. We're not talking about any old job. These guys are blessed with the talent they have to be a baseball player, professional baseball player. Yeah. If this job produces that amount of money, then there should be players who get at least I'm not saying you should get everything, but like they should get enough money to where, like, basically, I guess what I'm trying to say is this, right? If I'm working at a restaurant as a manager at a restaurant, there's a certain pool of money that I will get. You know what I mean? Like if you look at the average salaries, that's basically your average salary, how much you should be making working that kind of job. It's different when you talk about sports. It's millions of dollars that we're talking about here. Why should the owner keep it all just because they own the product, just because they take the risk? Come on. It's a sport. It's a sport that's been around for hundreds of years. Like it's gonna make money. These guys bought these teams for millions of dollars and they turn them into billion. Like they turn it to $1 billion enterprise. There has to be the same amount of profit going to the players. There has to be. Like,
well, maybe not billions, but for sure.
Not billions, but but I guess you guys know what I'm talking about. This isn't just your regular job. So like, don't be mad if the players are trying to get more money. That's what the billionaires are doing. Like, come on, man. Like it's not this, the baseball consists of players, not just owners.
Right. And you're talking, and John puts up okay, those billions being used is being used to pay every player and worker for that team, plus stadium fees and et cetera, et cetera. I get that, but you have 80.
How much? But which is still how much, John? Which is still how much? Think about it. It's nothing to these owners, bro. You think they just own the baseball team? They also have investments and all this other shit they could do.
Well, in this point, this is where I kind of side a little bit with the owners. If you're talking about, for example, we talked about the Baltimore Orioles. If you're talking about the Baltimore Orioles who are trash, are they going to fill in the stadium every day? No. But you still have to pay all these abundance amount of workers their full salary for 81 games or such for. And your team is trash. I understand that, and that's where this is where I kind of get the players. Like, it's not my fault, it's not our fault that you can't put the product on the field to compete year in and year out. And so the players need to get what they need to get for to at least to get paid, because hypothetically speaking, if I play in the MLB but I'm only good enough for 4 years and I made $2 million, great. I made $2 million. That's great, but I'm no longer a professional athlete. Now I have to go out in these streets and find a decent job for college and so on and so forth. Ooh, yeah, I know, I get that, but at least you had the opportunity. He says, okay, John goes, okay, I'm not going to give the third string shortstop a raise because I make millions of dollars owning a team. No,
okay, that's fine. You don't have to. That's not the point we're trying to make. The point is, if there's money to be made, extra money to be made, then why not give them a chance to make it? Why not pay the players a little bit more? I'm not just saying you're just going to throw money at any old buddy. I'm just saying that if there's more money to be made and these players deserve it, then give it to them. Like that's pretty much it. If you have all this, if the cap goes higher because you have so much more money, then so be it. But that doesn't mean you just pay, average Joe Schmo an extra $100 million just because he's on the team. No, that's not what we're talking about. If that's what the MLB players or MLBPA is trying to argue, then look, that's them, right? That's what they're trying to argue. My point is the billionaires have all this money. To them, they're not losing out on anything canceling these 2 series. They're not. If anything, it works out to their benefit because they probably wouldn't get that many people to go into to the stadiums early in the season because it's colder. They're waiting for when it gets hot and telling them the real money is going to start coming in.
They'll make money.
And then B, it expands the playoffs a little bit more because that's exactly what they're trying to do anyways because they know that's where the real money is. And if you're a player and you see that, like these guys are making so much money off us and off what our play and what we did, all the hard work that we did to even contribute to getting this talent, why shouldn't we get extra money if we deserve it?
Yeah, he said you can't fill in the seats because you have a bad team. So everyone on my team isn't getting a raise.
That's fine.
He also said they're literally fighting for a raise for the league minimum, aka the average Joes, and that's fine. I think that's fine. I don't see why you can't. At the end of the day, any sport, whether if it's football, basketball, soccer, baseball, name me another team sport, and hockey.
Get him, Tony. Get him. Get him, Tony. You're more than welcome to come out, Tony. I get put the link in the comment, Eric.
I already did. It's on there. It's a brotherhood. Like it's a sorority. It's like it's a random few. Only a few thousand of people can participate to become of the sorority. So yes, these guys are looking out for each other, and that's what a union's supposed to do, to look out for one another. If the league minimum, even if it's not that high, what if it was like $300,000-$400,000? What if you want to bump them, double it, $800,000? That's a raise, bro. Like that's good. Like people could, it's something that they want to work for. I understand that. But it says, would you guys play for your dream sport for $500,000 a year, or would you cry for more money?
Yes, we would. Of course, we would, John. But after X amount of years, if I'm making the owners millions of dollars and they're only paying me $500,000, that's you won't be disrespected. If you're making your owners, let's say you make the owners $100 million, but they're only giving you $500,000 a year. Come on, bro. Give me some money. You know what I mean? Like you deserve that. Don't. Come on, you're better than that. That's a bad thing.
I could have played professional soccer, but see, my knees didn't work out for me at the end of the day. So it's just like, I could have been part of this conversation, but no, not really. But yeah, Tony goes on and saying, I guess that was a bad joke. In a sport that has no cap, you bet on yourself. I know it's all good. Tony and I says $500,000 literally isn't, crap if in the big leagues. Real goes and said this, and then let me just because there's just send more. He says, believe me, I understand. I personally lost a very nice scholarship for baseball because of an injury. I'm right with you right there. See, we're here right eye to eye. It may not be baseball, but it was soccer for me. I've never played baseball ever again, but that's the risk you take to get paid to play. That's just the risk you take as a player, but you take what you can get from the sport while you play.
That's why when you're a player, that's why when you're a player, it's so important. You never know what happens the year after. You make as much money as you can, as much money as you get, because it's not promised. As you said, like the baseball players only average one more year than an NFL player. There's always going to be younger guys. There's always going to be people that are better than you. So make as much money as you can now that will get you in the right frame of of living your entire life. And think about it. Like, Russell Wilson came out today and as an NFL player, and you got to know it's the same for baseball, and says he spends about $1 million on himself and on his health and how he gets ready and prepared for a season. You got to pay people to personal chefs to cook the right healthy food for you. You got to be in the gym. You got to have personal trainers, people to take care of your body. That stuff isn't cheap. And if you're making the minimum league salary, how do you do that other than going to your average Planet Fitness down the street, and trying to do it yourself? You got to invest in yourself, and that stuff isn't cheap. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, like in a sport like this, in a job like this, you got to make that kind of money, man.
All right, and Tony puts it a lot too, because John says 5,000K is a lot to many players growing up in poor places. It's not like people for like Bryce Harper. Obviously, yes, in a place like you and I,
you're literally going, John, to like a whole different direction, bro. Stay in one lane.
But Tony and I goes and says, but who is actually getting paid 500K? You have to account for taxes and living expenses.
Thank you.
It's just like he's like, but John goes, that's a personal choice to pay for personal trainers, and chefs and so on and so forth.
That's what you got to do to perform in these leagues, John. Yes or no? You don't think that gives them a competitive advantage? Come on, man. Look at Tom Brady and the TB12 method and everything he does. You think that's cheap? Come on, bro.
I hurt my ears. I had headphones on. No, yeah. Look, at the end of the day, do the players deserve it? Yes. Whether if you are on top of the rotation, the best player on the team, or on the bottom or barely scrapping to make the professional squad on the 25, 30 man, 40 man roster, right? It's something that, I don't think it's so hard to do when, again, it's a dumb conversation because we're talking about billionaires versus millionaires. At the end of the day, most of these players, let's say 40% of the people on the roster probably make millions, and the rest probably make 100,000 millions or something like that. Am I right? Close to that? Maybe give it a little bit more. Yeah. 60-40, however you want to flip it. All right. But again, as a union for players, the players are looking out for their own people, whether if you're on the top of the totem pole or on the bottom. The top of the totem pole is looking out for the bottom of the totem pole by giving them more money. And we get it. It's just baseball. Here, if you really want me to be very disrespectful, for baseball, you're hitting a ball with a stick. Okay? And you got to catch that ball with a glove. Cool. But you're doing it professionally when these owners are getting paid millions and millions and billions of dollars. You just want to help out your brothers in the bottom. That's it. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Right. Get into the comments because John and Tony are going back and forth. John's saying if after 4 years you're making league minimum, it's your own fault. Tony, this isn't about skill. It's about making sure your players are financially stable.
Yep.
John goes and says, plus think about it. The Yankees can afford to raise the minimum, but can the Orioles? No, the Orioles are tanking, bro, and that's the problem about MLB right now. Tony, it's the right thing to do. John, now you're getting fouled. Soccer is just chasing a ball.
Technically, no. There's passes, there's overlaps, there's good in plays, there's more to it than just running around chasing a ball. So I mean, I'm just saying. But every baseball owner is a billionaire. They can afford it. Well, okay.
If the Orioles a shitty franchise that sucks and can't develop, but it can't develop a great team, should they get far less money just because they're not as good? Think about it. It goes the same way. Come on, man.
But at the end of the day, it's just it's one of those Oh, sorry. I was reading the comment. I apologize.
Bro, you didn't even blink.
I know. I just seen Arsenal. I'm like, huh? Should people on Arsenal get paid as much as Ronaldo Messi now?
Before there, Tony was like, every baseball owner is a billionaire. Then he goes off and say they can afford it. I
don't necessarily think that every MLB owner is a billionaire. Are they high millionaires?
They're billionaires. They're billionaires.
So.
Man. They are.
I believe so. But even then, it says so let me go with John. John says should Arsenal
but who's saying that we need that we're saying, you and I are saying that someone like Ortega should be making as much money as Trout. We're not saying that. We're not saying he should be making that much money. That never came out of our mouths. Why is John saying, should people Arsenal get paid just as much as Ronaldo, Messi? Who's saying that, John? We're just saying that if there's more money to be made, then there should be a little bit extra money that should be like, if the ceiling is here and the ceiling can go all the way to here, why shouldn't it?
Exactly.
it's not going to hurt the owners anyway. Like, come on.
I mean,
I'm not saying it should be all the way the hell up here where Ronaldo, Messi is. No, that's different because when it comes to skill and what player you're talking about, then it's different. But like, come on, like the ceiling or the floor should be a little bit higher if it can be. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Like if the league minimum, would you be okay? Would you be okay if the league minimum is $570,000? Would you be okay if the league minimum was, let's say, $820,000?
Let's say 1.25 million. If that's the minimum. Come on, that's
okay.
That's love though. That's $1 million at least. Like, what's wrong with that?
How about
they can realistically, the baseball can do that, Eric. Come on, let's be honest.
Okay, but let's just put it. Maybe not 1 point whatever.
They can. They can. Yes, they can. They could.
How about $925,000? Could be the
realistic. Okay, it's still significantly more.
Exactly.
And like,
I'm not saying like hit the million, but like be like right below it, like high.
But it can be low.
Low 900,000.
Well, realistically, it could be 1.25 million, and it won't hurt the owners one bit. It won't. And that's what baseball is trying to say. Like, why can't it be? If it won't even hurt your guys' pockets. Let's be real. It's like dimes and nickels to you guys.
This is why I say the MLS will take over as the third best sport in America within the next 5 years.
John goes on and says, how can they afford a raise? Tony goes on and says, the owner's still a billionaire. Tony also says, understand that owners make their money from their own business. That's true. He also says baseball is just a bonus. John goes and says, okay, if they want more money, then you have to perform. We know that, John. We never said that isn't the case. Tony says Cohen didn't get rich from owning the Mets. Walked in as a billionaire.
That's true.
Yeah. John goes on. It depends on how much money my team brings me, and then I gotta subtract all my expenses. But come on, bro. They're making money, man.
I mean, they still get a decent check from ESPN, MLB.
That's right.
Exactly. To still make a decent living and then there's no salary cap, and I get that. Look, if they really want it, I really do think that they should probably steer away from these $200 million contracts, and then we'll be okay with it. I mean,
John, we're not saying that they need to get money. We're not saying that they should be getting big time player money. That's just what your argument is. Like, oh, they should be making Rob Trite money. No.
Now look, look. This is where I'm gonna start disagreeing with John right here, because to afford bums are us players that play professionally. Even though if we're on the bench, even they're on the bench, they're still in the professional level. They have made it further than you and I will ever get. So
and you should know
to call them bums is disrespectful. Because at the end of the they are where they worked hard, where they got there, and then they're working hard to get there. So for them to get $500,000, their players, that same players, the guy that makes $10 million on that squad is helping you, the so-called bum on the bench, get a little raise for you to be living a little bit more okay than how he's living. It's not going to be hundreds of millions of dollars, but it is a few $100,000, close to 500,000 that hits $1 million to help you because you made it this far to this level.
That won't hurt the sport or the owners one bit.
I think I love where the players are doing, because they are getting the players on the bottom of the totem pole a little bit more money out of this, so they can have a decent living. Or not a decent living, but make a decent amount while they're still playing, because they may not be here next year and they won't probably be in the MLB the year after that. But at least for that 1 year, instead of making $500,000, they made like $870,000, and to me, that's a significant good raise right there.
Yeah, Tony Naya says raising the minimum wage anywhere is to ensure employees are okay and can continue to live their life. No, not everyone deserves to make hundreds of millions of dollars. But if you make it to the league, then you should be financially stable. Again, all we're talking about is just raising the floor. Like, if the league minimum is $500,000, what is another $105,000 to billionaires? It ain't nothing. But John, I get what you're saying. Like, they shouldn't be making hundreds or 200 million. Of course not. Unless they're good enough. There should be levels to it. You know what I mean? Right. But if the floor is there's nothing wrong with making the floor 100 or 1.25 million. There's nothing wrong with that. There really isn't, especially in a league where it's physically possible or financially possible.
I mean, if we put it like this in the NBA status, because I know he put LeBron up there, right? If the league minimum in the NBA, granted, they're more exposure to them and everything like that. If the league minimum is like I think like a $1.75 million just to be the 16th member on that bench and playing just to when you play, it's either garbage time or there foul trouble or injuries, and he's making $1 million to be the 16th member on that bench. I think if you're the 30th member, 25th member, whatever amount of players there is, or a 40-man roster, if you're the 40th man on that roster, I think you can easily make $900,000 just to be on that and be recalled to the big leagues if there are any injuries. I mean, I don't see no problem with that. If the NBA could do it, I think MLB could do it. And MLB plays more home games than basketball players do, double if I'm not mistaken.
This is a topic that's going to be going on for a while, especially if baseball isn't going to be coming back. So we'll have plenty of more time to talk about it. But let's get into some NBA. First and foremost, you guys are listening to the JCA Sports Podcast. We're here live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and make sure to follow us on Anchor and on Spotify. You'll be able to catch our current episodes, our past episodes, our future episodes, all on those two platforms, and you'll be able to share us and see us on YouTube and everything else, guys. So we're doing some big things here, but let's move on, Eric, to the NBA, and let's talk a little bit of Bulls and Zach LaVine. He made some news today, especially after practice. Zach LaVine came out and said some things that has a lot of people in Chicago a little bit worried, and that's basically that his left knee isn't 100%. And let's get that out of the way first. Yes, getting fluid drained from it and receiving an injection has made it better, as he stated. It's not going to be fully right until he can fully address it this off season, and what that will entail. Not even LaVine knows yet. He says that it's going to be a discussion for him and his doctor to figure out a plan of action to make him feel that he can get back to 100%. LaVine said after practice that basically he's at 80 to 70% right now. And he said to me, 80, 70%, whatever it is, I'm still one of the best players in the NBA. So for damn sure, I'm going to be one of the best players on the court when we play. But that got to me. I'm concerned. I don't know if you guys are concerned, but I'm concerned. I don't want to hear from one of my best players that he's only 70%, especially when you have the team that you have now and you're looking to make a title run. How concerned does it have? Come on, you're supposed to. If you're the Chicago Bulls, you're number 2 in the East. You're not that far from being 6, 7, 8. Let's be honest. The Toronto Raptors are currently sitting at number 7 right now, and they're only 4 games back from the Chicago Bulls. So if you're the Bulls, like you guys have to turn it around. But it doesn't look so good when you have all these injuries that are starting to pile up. You have Zach LaVine saying he's not even at 100%, and he probably won't. Not probably, he won't be 100% all. I guess for the rest of the season. That's an issue. Is it not?
Talking to a guy who has a major knee surgery before coming to the Bulls, right? He tore his ACL probably in his second, third year in his young career. He's came back. He doesn't look like he lost a step, but that's always going to be an issue. Now, again, this is how I see it, right? And you and I probably see it 2 different ways, right? Which is fine. But I really do believe that if that's an issue for Zach LaVine, I think you don't just shut it down for a few weeks. Let that knee recuperate a little bit more better. Have some therapy on it. Work it out a little bit. Make it 100% as much as you can. Because at the end of the day, you're already better than last year, and you're gonna make the playoffs no matter what. Seating wise is completely different. But I'd rather have 100%. I'd rather have a squad at 100 than a squad at 80, 90 because of injuries and stuff like that. Because we've never seen the Bulls other than 13 games this year where we're playing at full strength. And we're finally going to get that. And now Zach LaVine's news comes out today about his knee. Well, just add him to the list. You still have a month and a half left, if that, or just a month left of basketball. Just shut them down for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Bring back everybody almost around the same time, right before the season ends, and just live off. I think you put yourself in a position where you put yourself either second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Like you put yourself in a position where you can make the playoffs. And when you're in the playoffs, you're gonna come back with a full squad at 100%. I'd rather take my chances at that, whether falling from the second spot into the play-in playoff spot. But at least I have my team back at 100, and then we'll talk about now if we're talking about them not coming back and Zach adds, then yes, I'll be worried about any chances. But I'd rather take my chance at shutting everybody down as much as I can to be 100% when everybody comes back.
So, this is his contract year. It's a huge year for Levine. So that's the reason why he still wants to play. This is the year where he proves he can make a lot of money, man. Next year, if the Bulls can give him the max if they wanted to. But it concerns me a little bit because let's say after this year he goes and gets some surgery, we sign him to a max deal. We might not have him for maybe the beginning half, depending on what happens to him. Depending on what kind of surgery he does in the offseason. We're not going to have him for half the season next season. So I wanted to ask you, Eric, should he just shut it down now? Is it a smarter play? Let's be honest. I think you're one of the guys who doesn't think the Bulls will win it all this year, right? Can you confidently say that?
Yeah,
you think
100%.
the Bulls
They're not going to win it.
They're not going to win. And I'm sort of leaning towards that same route. So is it better for him just to shut it down now, get your surgery, get your max deal, get your money, and by next year you come in a better, healthier Zach LaVine, and depending on what moves the franchise makes, maybe have a healthier squad. You then go for the championship next year, or is that, or you in your mind, do you think that's just wasting DeMar DeRozan's MVP like year? And because come on, next year's never guaranteed, right?
Exactly right. Next year's never guaranteed. So no, I wouldn't shut him down for this year completely. No, I wouldn't do that. I think that's just plain stupidity if the Bulls actually do that because, like you said, they have a shot. Okay, a shot. I'll give them a shot. Right? Do I wholeheartedly?
If you give the Bears a shot in the playoffs, you better give the Bulls a shot. In the playoffs.
They have a shot, right? With 100% squad, they have a shot. But even then, with 100%, I still don't think they're good enough to come out of the East, let alone to win an NBA title. I think there are way more better teams out there than the Chicago Bulls right now at the moment. To shut him down like that, no, I don't want to take away his opportunity to be in his first NBA playoffs when he's never been into the playoffs. Let alone he's never had a 500 record in his career, and he's finally getting one. Okay, so I wouldn't take that away from him. If he's feeling better by in 3 weeks because of his knee, because of the time off, because he had to do what he had to do, have a little therapy session, great. If he is 100% by then, great. Guess what's going to happen in 3 weeks? Caruso's coming back. Ball is coming back. Guess what's going to happen 2 weeks after that? If everybody's still healthy, Patrick Williams is going to come back. Guess what? The Bulls are at 100%. They have their full squad. So I want to see this squad at 100% right at the right time before the playoffs. To shut them down, to give them the surgery now, shut them down and do that? Nah, hell no. The Bulls will look dumb. They just gave up their opportunity to actually compete, to go to the Eastern Conference Finals and giving them an opportunity to at least to compete in an NBA Finals, even though, I mean, personally, I really don't think that they're going to win it. But I rather have him to be at 100%, shut him down now for a couple weeks, and then bring him back up when everybody comes up.
Did you listen to the Jca Sports podcast? Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. We're broadcasting live on each one of those platforms. And of course, as you see on the screen, catch our podcast on Anchor and on Spotify to listen to it time and time again. I agree with what you said, Eric, that if they want to realistically win a championship this year, they have to be 100% healthy. I don't know if shutting Zach LaVine down now makes him 100% healthy, especially if the injury is a lot more significant than what they're leading on to be. You know what I mean? They did what they could to for him to be allowed to play now without it bothering him so much. But at the same time, it's. I don't know, man. I would have shut him down now. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. Real Prez in the comments says I take 70-80% LaVine over half the league. Easier said than done, but they just have to monitor his minutes and make sure he's only playing when he's needed. Rest him up after your injured players are coming back, and then have more depth, or when they solidify a solid spot in the playoffs. Honestly, how many players are actually 100% to stay into the season? Which is very, very true.
Well, the Bulls were going to be 100% that late in the season if they could actually bring back everybody. So, I mean,
As long as
theoretically,
somebody else gets injured, yes.
yes. So, again, yeah, a 70-80% Levine over half of the league, probably give or take a little less or get a little more, depending how you see Zach Levine. But I still feel like if you have this injury riddled team and you add one more piece, knowing that he could come back later in the season, and you rather take that chance of him being at 100 late in the season or given an opportunity to be 100% that late in the season with your whole squad coming up, okay, I'd rather take that than doing monitoring his minutes, making sure he played when he's needed, rest him up if a player's injured or not, do all that. Just shut him down for a couple weeks, let him get reevaluated for that knee, see what the doctors can do, see what the doctors see, do this and do that. And if he's cleared to be good 3 weeks, guess what? There's only like 15, 20 more games before the season ends. And then your whole squad comes back up. I'd rather do that than just monitor his minutes, do this, do that, and I'll be good.
It's tough right now. The Bulls need all the help they can get. As I mentioned, they're only four. They dropped more games here. They can fall down to the 7th spot. They're at 23 losses. I believe right now. The Bulls are. The Brooklyn Nets are at 18 losses. Not that far away. So I mean, if they don't watch themselves, they can fall. They can drop in the playoffs. And that's not where you want to be, especially when you have these upper echelon teams like Miami, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, Boston. They're all starting to play better, and we're backtracking a little bit. So it can get pretty dangerous.
No, even then so. No, even then, so it really doesn't matter the position of everybody else where they're at. I honestly do believe like I rather have them at 100. Again, even making the playoffs is just a step up from last year. I mean, like I said, they've already exceeded last year's numbers.
Yeah, but come on. But if you know they can win a championship here, that's what you want. That's the end goal. That's the end game. That's the main goal, Eric.
That is the main goal. But if
you can't be just content with, oh yeah, they made the playoffs, which is better than last year. Okay, yeah, that's when the season's over with. That's when you say that. Right now, they have a shot to compete for it all.
Yeah,
so
man, but
that's it.
But you can't learn how to run before you learn how to walk, man. Like, just give it time. I mean, like you say, I get it. What you said. Next year could be completely different, and you're absolutely right. And we're like, man, you know what? The Bulls had that opportunity that one year, and so on and so forth. Okay, then we'll have that conversation if that does end up happening. But at the same time, it's just like you gotta let this team kind of mature a little bit with the draft picks, first year together, and actually competing in a spot. I get it. They're in the playoffs. Let them succeed the way they want to succeed. Outside of the first, if they are outside of the first round, cool. Kudos to them. But I think after that, I don't see anywhere else after that. You're giving these guys playoff experience, something they have never had before. So
I love it. I love the way you think a little bit, right? But at the same time, it also drives me crazy because if you have the talent you have now, it's not like these all guys are just rookies, sophomores.
Right. No, yeah.
Vegan. You have DeMar DeRozan, who's been playing for some time. Vooch has been in a multiple All-Star. Levine has been a multiple All-Star. DeRozan has been a multiple All-Star. You have Ball and Caruso. Caruso knows how to get it done. He's won a championship before. You have Lonzo Ball, who's one of the, like I said, better defensive point guards, and he's a true point guard. You have great players here.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't waste this magical year that you have. DeMar DeRozan, yes, he's having an MVP like year. That's not to say that it's just gonna go away next year. But at the same time, it's like, come on, we all know this is more on the like fluke side than it's not. You know what I mean? That's not to downplay him or what he's doing. I'm just saying, 10 plus years in the league, this is the first year where this is like your best year. I'm not saying that this is the peak, right? But like this isn't guaranteed every single year. So like don't ruin this moment, this chance that you guys have. Go all in now and win a championship. Yes, you can't learn to run before you learn to walk. I get it. But if you're running, run all the way to the finish line. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean it's still the Bulls. They still have players contracted for a couple of more years. You're getting to learn about your team a lot more now than you did last year. So, with time will tell. Again, you're not going to get the performance next year for sure. I think there's a downfall somewhere, but I mean, at the same time, it's still going to be the same team. The chemistry is still going to be there. It's just injuries happen year in and year out. Unless if it's a catastrophic injury, man, that's the only way that this Bulls team could be stopped, honestly. But if I were the Bulls, I'll shut them down for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then go from there afterwards. When you bring everybody back, and then you're at 100, your squad is at 100.
Okay, let's say you do that, and they drop to the 8th seed. Like,
You're in the playoffs.
huh?
You're in the playoffs. You're playing to get into the playoffs. Your team. Besides,
You're in
it's
the
good.
playoffs. Increase Miami.
Besides,
That's off the first one. You're content?
look,
Come on, man. This is
Again.
where we disagree, though. This is where
No, I honestly believe like you're getting minutes to these players that haven't really played a good amount of time in this regular season. So if they're in the play-in game, cool. You know what? Let them get the minutes. I honestly like what everybody said, and I think Miami's game the other day was kind of like an eye opening that that's a team that doesn't have a superstar in their team, but they're coached very, very well. I give you that the Bulls weren't at 100%, and I want to and I think it was Corey that said last week, I want to see the Bulls at 100% against these teams, and I do too. And I personally believe, although the Heat are a scary team, I think the Bulls at 100 are just a tad bit better than the Miami Heat squad wise. It's going to be down to the coaching, and if you have Eric Spoelstra and Spoelstra pushes the right buttons, then you lost to a team that was better coach, and I wouldn't be upset with that, because at least you made the playoffs. You're in, you did your best, and it is what it is. They didn't have their squad at the end of the year, and they came back at the right time, but it was just too much against a team that was coached well.
I get it. I just can't. I can't. I feel like I'm a player or a coach. I can't just sit there and the way I see it, if you shut down Levine, all I get is for the bigger picture. To me, it's kind of like, what's going to happen. The team's significantly going to be worse. Levine knows that. That's why he will never do it. The team knows that they'll start to lose. They'll start to lose games. Not saying they're tanking. I get it. They're doing it to be healthy for the playoffs, but the playoffs aren't guaranteed. And it's
kind of guaranteed.
You can catch a team on fire in the playing game. You might not even make the playoffs. You know what I mean? You can catch a team, you can catch a team like Miami, Philadelphia, who insert whatever good team as number one, who's just significantly better, or just like I said, you have that one player's on a hot streak, then you're bounced out the first round. It's like, come on. They're seeding for a reason. You want the best possible seed, not only to get home court advantage, because that actually matters in the NBA, or B, you get the better matchups in a way.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, it's a risk I'm willing to take, to know that my full squad is at 100%, then not. You know what I mean? And if Zach is at 70, 80, and like Rio said, he'll take a 70, 80%, over half of the league. If I could get Zach LaVine at 100 with my squad at 100, I'd rather take that. I'd rather take my chances at that than having my squad at 90 because of Zach LaVine than 100. I think 100 is better than 90, at least in my book.
Yeah, great. Well, we agree to disagree, but I think we agree on that. That we need this Bulls team to be healthy for them to even sniff a championship. So there it is.
Finals at least.
We weren't 100% healthy today. We were missing our boy John, but he was live and rampant in the comments, and we appreciate him. We appreciate Tony. We appreciate Rio. You guys definitely made our show better. And of course, thank you, Eric, and thank you everybody who watches us even after we're off live. But again, guys, you could definitely catch us every Monday, every Wednesday here on Facebook Live, on YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter. We broadcast live on all those platforms. Follow us on those platforms. We will put out content for sure. We also have an Instagram. We have our TikTok making its debut very soon as well. So make sure you guys follow us. You can catch all our episodes on Spotify and on Anchor. And we will be back Monday, and we'll have a great show for you guys then. Hopefully John is back. That way we're here 100% healthy and ready for a championship run.
And also, you could also listen to us on B Wave Radio. That's the big news I wanted to give you guys out. B Wave Radio. You can follow them on Facebook. B Wave Radio will be live every Tuesday. Well, not live, but we have our shows on there at 6:00 every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Our show, the Jca Sports Podcast, Sports Strip Live, and my EAFP podcast too as well, will be on B Wave Radio. That's the new thing. We're collaborating with this radio station. Make sure you find them, follow them. B Wave Radio, and then click on the link, and you'll find our shows there at 6:00 and 6:00 Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and 6 to 6:30. The Jca Sports
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yes, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You can follow our shows there too as well at 6:00 on those days as well. The Jca Sports Podcast, Sports Strip Live, and the EAFP podcast too as well. So thanks to B Wave Radio for having our show on their platform. We're just trying to expand and get our names out there too as well, and trying to help them too as well. So
yeah, there you go. You have it. There you have it. So many platforms. You can find us at so many different locations.
You're gonna get annoyed of us,
right? No, never. We're lovable. We have faces for radio and personalities for TV. So there you go, guys. Thank you for watching us. Thanks for watching us. We'll be back next Monday, 100%. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, Devin Hester's still not a Hall of Famer.
So what?